In the early hours of a humid summer morning, the USS Winston S. Churchill drifted lazily through the waters of the Red Sea, its sleek silhouette cutting through the waves like a knife through silk. The ship, a guided missile destroyer, was part of a larger fleet conducting routine exercises aimed at maintaining peace and stability in a region often fraught with tension. The crew, a mix of seasoned sailors and eager newcomers, busied themselves with their daily tasks, unaware that the calm would soon be shattered by a series of events that would echo around the world. On the opposite side of the sea, the Houthi movement, a group that had risen to prominence in Yemen, was plotting an audacious strike. For years they had faced a coalition of forces that included Saudi Arabia and other Gulf states, struggling against overwhelming odds, but determined to assert their influence in the region. Their leadership had grown increasingly frustrated with what they perceived as foreign interference in their affairs. The Houthis had long been equipped with various forms of weaponry, but their capabilities were often underestimated by their adversaries. Yet, emboldened by a series of recent successes against local targets, they decided to escalate their efforts and send a message to the world. The plan was simple, yet dangerous. A small fleet of fast attack boats would approach the USS Winston S. Churchill under the cover of darkness, launching a surprise assault designed to catch the American crew off guard. The Houthis believed that such a bold move would not only demonstrate their military prowess, but also garner international attention, potentially shifting the balance of power in their favor. They had calculated the risks, but in their eagerness to strike, they had overlooked one critical element: the vigilance of the U.S. Navy. As the sun began to rise, casting a golden hue across the horizon, the USS Winston S. Churchill was blissfully unaware of the impending danger. The crew was engaged in their morning routines, sipping coffee and sharing stories, when suddenly the ship's radar began to ping with unusual activity. The watch officer, a sharp-eyed lieutenant, quickly alerted the captain, who sprang into action. The situation escalated rapidly as the small boats laden with explosives raced toward the destroyer with reckless abandon. The crew sprang into action, their training kicking in as alarms blared and the ship's systems activated. The destroyer, equipped with advanced weaponry and defensive measures, was ready for a confrontation. The Houthis, however, had not anticipated the level of preparedness they would encounter. As the boats approached, the crew of the USS Winston S. Churchill unleashed a barrage of countermeasures, their weapons systems whirring to life in a coordinated display of military might. The initial shock of the attack quickly turned into a well-orchestrated defense, and in a matter of minutes, the small fleet of Houthi boats was decimated, their audacious assault thwarted before it could even begin. The aftermath of the attack reverberated far beyond the confines of the Red Sea. News outlets across the globe reported on the incident, framing it as a significant miscalculation on the part of the Houthis. Analysts weighed in, speculating on the implications of such an attack against a U.S. Navy ship. The narrative quickly shifted from a local skirmish to a potential international crisis, raising questions about the stability of the region and the responses that would follow. For the Houthis, the consequences were immediate and severe. Their leadership, who had envisioned a bold strike that would elevate their status, found themselves facing a backlash from both their supporters and their adversaries. The attack had not only failed, but had also exposed their vulnerabilities. The international community, which had been closely monitoring the situation in Yemen, reacted with a mixture of alarm and skepticism. Analysts pointed out that the Houthis had overstepped their bounds, and the repercussions could be dire. In Washington, D.C., the incident prompted urgent discussions among military and political leaders. The Pentagon convened emergency meetings to assess the situation and determine the appropriate response. There was a palpable sense of tension as officials debated the implications of the attack. Some advocated for a show of force, arguing that a strong response was necessary to deter further aggression from the Houthis. Others cautioned against escalating the situation, fearing that a military retaliation could spiral out of control and lead to a wider conflict in the already volatile region. As the sun set on the day of the attack, the world held its breath. In Yemen, the Houthis faced mounting pressure from their own ranks. Their supporters, who had initially cheered the idea of a bold strike, began to question the wisdom of such a move. Discontent simmered among the ranks, and whispers of dissent grew louder. The leadership, realizing their miscalculation, attempted to spin the narrative, framing the failed attack as a courageous act of defiance against foreign powers. Yet, the damage was done. The international community had witnessed their defeat, and the perception of the Houthis as a formidable force began to wane. In the days that followed, the U.S. Navy increased its presence in the Red Sea, conducting joint exercises with Allied forces to reinforce their commitment to regional security. The Houthis, realizing that their actions had prompted a stronger military response, found themselves on the defensive. They had intended to send a message of strength, but instead, they had revealed their vulnerabilities to the world. The miscalculation served as a stark reminder of the complexities of modern warfare, where a single misstep could have far-reaching consequences. As diplomatic channels opened, discussions began about the future of the conflict in Yemen. The U.S. and its allies sought to leverage the situation to push for a renewed focus on peace negotiations. The failed attack had provided an opportunity to address the underlying issues that had fueled the conflict for years. Humanitarian concerns took center stage, with calls for increased aid and support for the Yemeni people, who had suffered immensely in the ongoing war. The international community recognized that the Houthis, while misguided in their aggression, were also a product of a larger narrative of struggle and survival. In Yemen, the political landscape began to shift as well. The Houthis, facing internal dissent and external pressure, found themselves at a crossroads. Their leadership, once emboldened by recent successes, now grappled with the consequences of their actions. The failed attack had weakened their position, and rival factions began to emerge, vying for control and influence. The dynamics of the conflict became increasingly complex, as various groups sought to capitalize on the Houthi miscalculation. Meanwhile, the United States and its allies recognized the importance of addressing the root causes of the conflict. Diplomatic efforts intensified, and a renewed focus on negotiations emerged. The failed attack served as a catalyst for discussions about a lasting peace in Yemen, highlighting the need for a comprehensive approach that considered the interests of all parties involved. The international community rallied to support peace initiatives, recognizing that stability in Yemen was crucial not only for the region, but for global security. As the months passed, the repercussions of the attack continued to unfold. The Houthis, once seen as a rising force, found themselves increasingly isolated. Their miscalculation had not only jeopardized their standing, but had also prompted a re-evaluation of their strategies. The leadership, facing mounting pressure from both within and outside their ranks, struggled to regain the narrative. They attempted to pivot, focusing on local grievances and humanitarian issues, but the shadow of the failed attack loomed large. In the United States, the incident sparked a broader conversation about military engagement in the Middle East. Policymakers debated the lessons learned from the attack, reflecting on the complexities of modern warfare and the need for a nuanced approach. The incident served as a reminder of the delicate balance between demonstrating strength and exercising restraint, a lesson that would shape future military strategies. As the Red Sea continued to serve as a stage for geopolitical maneuvering, the implications of the Houthi attack remained evident. The region was in a state of flux, with alliances shifting and new players emerging. The miscalculation had altered the landscape, prompting a re-evaluation of strategies and priorities. For the Houthis, the path forward was fraught with challenges, as they sought to navigate a complex web of internal dissent and external pressures. The USS Winston S. Churchill, having weathered the storm, continued its mission in the Red Sea, a symbol of resilience and strength. The crew, bonded by their shared experiences, carried on with their duties, ever vigilant in the face of uncertainty. The world had witnessed a moment of tension, a fleeting glimpse into the complexities of conflict, and in its aftermath, the narrative continued to evolve. In the grand tapestry of history, the small attack by the Houthis on a U.S. Navy ship would be remembered not only for its immediate implications, but for the lessons it imparted. The miscalculation served as a reminder of the delicate nature of power dynamics, the importance of strategic foresight, and the ever-present potential for conflict in a world where the stakes were high and the consequences profound. As the sun set over the Red Sea, the waves whispered stories of ambition, resilience, and the enduring struggle for peace in a tumultuous world.